Hello everyone and welcome! Today I've got the 1/25th scale RC 1978 Trans Am back on the bench. One of my more unique ongoing projects, which features a bit of a strange mix of parts, combining a very scale leaf spring rear end paired with a high-speed brushless motor all tacked on to this AMT plastic model kit. I've been playing around with this project for a while and, as you may recall, encountered a few issues with the motor in the prior video. After sitting on the back burner for a while, I've decided it's make it or break it time for this project. Today I'll be attempting to get this car fully functioning. If you missed the earlier videos I've made featuring this project, you'll find a link to the playlist below in the description, but without further introduction, let's dive right in. Despite this car's lightweight body and chassis, this 4500 kV motor was just not giving the required torque. There's no gear reduction other than that provided by the ring and pinion gears in the rear axle, so that proved to be an issue. I attempted to find some potential options for adding some kind of gear reduction, but nothing out there from mini Zs to micro aircraft seemed like they had something that would really work well with this unique and unconventional setup. For simplicity, I decided to keep the direct drive setup, but just add more power in the form of this larger 2500 kV brushless motor. If it has enough torque to get this car moving easily, this thing should be a rocket ship. I got all of the wires soldered on and press fit the drive shaft socket onto the shaft. I needed to design a new motor mount to secure the motor to the chassis, as this one is larger than the prior motor and won't fit the current mount. This was easy enough to do using Autodesk Fusion 360 to make the design and then 3D printing the mount that you see here. I have posted the STL file for this mount on our Patreon page if anyone's interested, the link is below in the description. I was easily able to swap the motor mounts and then do a quick test drive. It looks like this motor is going to work great, plenty of power and more importantly, sufficient torque. It did cog a bit when going from a standing start, but I think that's more down to the fact that I was only giving it a small amount of throttle so I wouldn't blow up the drivetrain. It's probably worth mentioning that there is nothing right about this current setup. This axle is not designed for brushless power or high speeds, this direct drive setup isn't really ideal, and these leaf springs, well, just look at that axle wrap. Not good for the resin drive shaft ends. The only thing right about this car is all that clatter kind of makes it sound like it has an engine. Unlike a lot of what I showcase on the channel, this is more of a don't build this at home type of a situation. I'm going way above what these parts are designed to do just for fun, but if you are going to do something like this, expect plenty of broken parts, as I have here. This resin driveshaft end is toast and needs to be replaced. We do have some beefed up parts such as this driveshaft end that you see here. These are FDM 3D printed in two pieces, then glued together with a steel 1x5mm dowel pin secured to the plastic pieces. Again, STL files can be found on Patreon. A simple but much stronger option, however it will cause the rear end gears to now be the weak link in the driveline. For that reason, higher strength brass gears will more than likely be required. Brass gears are what I've been using in that brushless General Lee stunt car, and I've yet to have a single issue with them. That said, note that these higher strength parts, which I'll be providing links to below in the description, are designed to be used in conjunction with lower speed brushed motors, and are really intended to improve the durability and reliability of an otherwise pretty sensible model to RC conversion like these. In that context, these parts will work perfectly. If you're trying to break the sound barrier though, I can't guarantee these parts will be enough, but I guess you don't know till you try. As this car stands now, I predict eventually every part of this driveline will need to be upgraded, but for now I'll move on to getting this car closer to completion now that it works. I glued a bunch of parts into place, including the hood and windows. This pre-painted plastic model kit looks good, though not everything fits together that well. To add just a bit more detail to the car, I used some Sharpie markers. I noticed that these wheel spoiler flares aren't painted body color like the rest of the kit, so after some sanding to make sure they fit well, I matched them with some paint the best I could. I also painted the interior piece flat black. I'll do the detail painting on that later. To improve the appearance of the chassis a bit, I brushed on some flat black paint. And that's where the car is at right now. Not much more needed before it's ready to drive. I'm glad this project is back on track, and I wanted to share this little update video with all of you. It should definitely be interesting to see what this car can do, and I'm hoping to get some awesome slow motion shots of this car. I think the combination of those soft leaf springs and overpowered motor should definitely provide some cool looking shots, so be sure to stay tuned for that. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.